King, thank you so much for coming on with our crazy asses this evening. It is a pleasure to have you. For those of the people that are on the internet that have not heard about you or been tuned into your channel, can you tell us briefly about yourself and about your comic, Flame?
So I guess what do I do on social media? So on TikTok, because I have so much comic book knowledge, right? There are a lot of people who spread misinformation. And in nature, nature automatically creates a apex predator for anything that exists. I'm pretty much the apex predator that it created for that. So when you give misinformation or you say something that's not correct, I'll be the one to basically correct it. And when I correct it, I'm never going to give you headcanon. I'm going to tell you what's actually in the book. I'm going to open that book, pull that page out, and I'm going to show you exactly what it says and where it is. Now, because of that, people look to me when it comes to knowing the facts or knowing what something is, because a lot of times nobody wants headcanon, right? And a lot of the information a lot of people have today, they got from a wiki or they got from Quora. A lot of things is someone repeating someone else's opinion or think pieces. It's not authentic at all, right? And because of that, I've been able to build what I have today. Now, when it comes to my comic, on the other hand, when it comes to Flame, Flame is something that I wanted to do differently. I remember when I was writing it in high school, right? I was already writing Flame in high school. I just couldn't draw. But my wife could draw, right? So when we graduated, she told me, like, I remember it specifically. I didn't want to go to work anymore. And she just looked at me like, she was like, I don't get it. I said, I don't want to keep doing this. So I need you to do me a favor. I said, I want you to draw me a picture where you have a skull and my badge number on the forehead over a conveyor belt. And I posted that by my door. And every time I got ready to go to work, before I go to work, I would take like 5-6 minutes and I would just stare at that picture every single day. And every day when I was at work, I was thinking about writing. I was writing on my lunch breaks. I was writing every time I came home. Like, I was constantly working and doing everything I could because I didn't want to do that no more. So one day I sat down and I told her, hey, I know you've never drawn comics. You've always drawn like full portraits and stuff. But is there any way that you could help me bring this to life? And she was like, well, I've never done this before. I like drawing a picture is one thing. You're asking me to draw individual pictures for a comic book. I've never done that. I said, well, we can do this together. It can just be something that we do together. So she said, sure. Okay, go for it. So I said, okay. So she did. And it was hard. It was hard for her because as an artist, when an artist draws into the portrait, it's hard to take that same quality and be consistent in each box and bubble. It's a whole different thing. Drawing comics is different from drawing pieces of art. It's completely different. Because now you're taking multiple pieces and you're trying to tell a story. So what we did was, because we're together, we just went ahead and tried to learn it together, right? No matter how much we failed or whatever like that, we just kept going. And that's kind of seen from book 1 all the way to 15. Like, you'll see how the art and the story constantly progresses with each other because we're constantly learning as we're going. Now, as for its creation, I wanted to do something differently. People are always talking about how they want to stop racism, right? But we know racism is a construct. It's created, right? So how do you get people to let that go or to get over that? Well, I said, okay, what if we showed everybody that they're the same? So in Flame, the power source, or how all their abilities are tied together, is by melanin. Most of the time when someone creates a character who has melanated powers, those powers are activated, via the sun, etc. But I said, no, what if we make it a genetic thing to where it's like they produce the melanin themselves and melanin works differently for every race? What if we did that? And she goes, has that been done before? I said, no, it hasn't been done before. So I said, what if everything that happens is based off of melanin, right? But, again, for us, we produce melanin naturally, right? And if the sun hits us, our bodies will naturally produce more as a defensive mechanism, right?
Correct.
Whereas other cultures, they do the same thing, but not as much or not as potent as we do. And there's also different types of melanin within the body, right? Like, for instance, Caucasians. Well, I'm gonna say Caucasians, but you know what I mean. Caucasians. The pink of your lips or the pink of your nipples or underneath your arm, that's melanin based, right? That pink is based off melanin. So when we were doing this, I said, let's not put black, let's not put white. The only thing that we say that is race is the melanated race. We'll just say that melanated. And what we'll do is we'll make it to where it's connected to everyone, right? Now, the first 15 books, you don't see any other races except us. You don't see different races until about book 15, and that's when the Black Knights come in. But the Black Knights are covered, and they wear melanated armor. But when they take their helmets off, it'll be 4 kids. You see 3 first, but it's 4 of them. But you'll see 4 kids, and each kid is a different race, and they use Black Knight armor to fight other melanated races. So,
okay,
yeah. So because certain cultures can't produce as much as we produce naturally, what they could produce, they would siphon their own melanin, put it inside of a gourd, and then they would make armor. So Zeus, Thor's hammer, Zeus's sword, what's it called, Achilles' spear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The Artemis bow, like stuff like that. Like all those weapons that you learn from Greek mythology were built off of melanin. And and even when it comes to Norse style, they would edge their runes into it, and they would give those weapons powers. When it comes to the Asians, they put that into their swords, and they fuse their melanin into their bones. So those techniques of being able to slice fast or move quickly or be, basically increase their speed, that's how they were doing it. So we wanted to use melanin as a way to show how everybody is connected. Everybody has it. It may work differently, but no matter what happens, you can't hate what's inside you that's inside everyone else. To hate somebody else is to hate. Yeah, it's to hate yourself, basically. So, I like when we did that, we had a huge positive effect when it comes to these kids, because these kids love it. They love it, and I think one of the cool parts about it was like, as they produce their melanin, right, their skin gets black, right, it turns kind of grayish black, right, but the more they produce, they don't just get darker and darker. No. The first stage is that your skin starts to get real dark, right? The next stage is that the melanin itself cracks, and it starts to light up and change color. And it gets to a point where the whole body becomes color, and everybody's different. Everybody has a different color. Everybody has a different energy signature. So it's to show, like, the darker you are, the more beautiful you can become. So I wanted to do that as a way to where kids can stop looking at it as a negative and look at it as something that's cool. And I've had every child of every race you can think of that has had these books, and they love it so much. And they actually do start like, okay, well, hey, how do I start doing it? How do I I want you to enjoy and love what you are, not have it as a negative. So I'm saying. And one of the things that I also want to do was something that I don't think personally in the indie space, I don't think anybody's done this. Again, I said I don't know.
Go ahead.
I've been reading comics for years. I haven't seen anything like this.
No.
Well, there was something else I wanted to add in there that I don't think anybody's done. Again, if I'm wrong, someone say so. But I don't think it had ever been done before. So I said, what if we make, when you open the book, the first page of written literature that the child sees is they see God, but they see God as a Black woman. What if we did that? And my wife was like, you don't think you'll get pushed out? I said,
that's never been done.
So I made sure, so when you open Flame issue number 1, that the God, the woman that you see there that basically created all of that, that's a Black woman. So I wanted that for everybody to see, like the mother of creation is her. And I kept saying, I said, well, again, I don't think anybody's ever done this before. So I said, I don't see why we can't do this.
Y'all are the only ones from now. I haven't been in the space for, in relative terms, a hot second, but no, no. I mean, I can say, like, I'm a Marvel girly, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, since the 90s, blah blah blah. But still, in all, no, no. We have Black women. We don't get centralized in that space. We don't come off as the end all and be all, or that which everything derived from under any. Don't let, and barely Storm barely a mention of Storm in that vein. I don't honestly, and if I'm thinking like right now, it's not at all, to be honest with you. She's extremely powerful. She owns her shit. She don't let nobody run her.
She's getting some shine now, but it's not as much as she has ever had. And I think the issue I don't want anybody to feel offended when I say this. I have a lot of issue with Storm as a character, and I have an issue with her writing. Again, I don't want anybody to feel offended when I say this. If somebody feels offended, I do apologize. But this is just a factual thing I'm talking about. When it comes to Storm, something I've always hated about her or her writing is the fact that they treat her like a Playboy bunny, if that makes sense. Like she's everybody's candy in the house. And I hate how Charles Xavier, which it gets brought up in X-Men Red, Charles Xavier basically lied to her when she was younger, right? Because she was a goddess, she was worshipped, right? And she used to fly around the sky, basically naked with just a towel around her waist or whatever. And Charles called her down and told her that she's not a god, she's a mutant, right? And that she's misleading these people or whatever, and that she should come live with him so that she could study what she is and know what she is, right?
Yep.
When he gets there, it's like everybody gets a piece of her. And Charles was such a perv back in the day that even he had impure thoughts about Jean Grey, etc. So he wasn't a very good person, which Storm basically confronts him about that. But it's the fact that if you look at it, everybody has had a piece of her. And I just feel like out of everybody that you could have done that with, why did you have to do that with her?
Yeah.
Why did she have to be the one that was passed around left and right? Like, I love her for who she is. I don't like how y'all have written her, and I don't like the fact that she just gets thrown around. Like, don't get me wrong, you do your relationships, like you got Jean Grey, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Scott Summers, but that's pretty much as far as it goes, right? Emma Frost, her things is dominating others, etc. But when it comes to Storm, it's just like you have passed her around. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong being promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? If you want to do that, cool. But you don't have to always write that when it comes to us. Like, we don't have to be the ones that just keep passing around left and right. So that's so something like that has always like irritated me with her. Not the character, the people who write her. Because my thing is, in Marvel Comics, there is no solidifiable reason why T'Challa and Storm aren't together or have as much friction as they do. There's no reason. You got Gambit and Rogue. Psylocke even has a man. You got Jean Grey and Scott, right? You have all these characters who have functional relationships, but this is the one relationship that you would think would work. But
should.
And the most friction is created.
Most friction is created. It's the most problem. So it's like it's an issue. You know it's an issue. You know it's a problem. Because what you're doing is you're showing us that in your comic book universe specifically, right? At Marvel, if you watch this, I have nothing against you. You know that, because DC has the same problem. But you do not have any black love for the most part in there. You don't have that as a thing. There's none of that. You got Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, right? You had Iron Fist, and you had Misty Knight. You've had Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah.
But you have no actual black love, and when you do put them together, you make them the most toxic, most violent relationship in comics, because they have put hands on each other on a multitude of occasions. So it's like you do this with them when you shouldn't do this. But it is what it is.
In the land of fantasy, you see them take this platform of comics and make it their social commentary playground.
Basically,
you just, and I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. Of all the couples that you've seen in Marvel, this is the one that should work. Yes. Through all adversity, through the joy and everything. And I look at literally and just say, why did you decide to do that?
Yep.
Look, y'all know my issues with Storm and Marvel as a whole, especially fucking lately. They don't have anyone to pull from to tell them that's not really how that fucking works, or why don't you dive deeper, or actually let me bring my wife, who I've been married to for XYZ amount of years, and explain to y'all how a black household actually functions, how an African Even if you
because
want
they
to
don't want to hear it. They
So
don't
hold
want to hear
on.
it.
Here's the problem with that though. Here's the issue with that.
Mm.
While you are correct, the issue that I have with that is the fact that the writers that they do have writing for Black Panther, or even Storm, have actually in the last couple of years been Black. The last couple of Black Panther runs,
Yes.
it's been Black. The greatest Black Panther run that's ever been written was Intergalactic Empire and Nation Under Our Feet. Right, he did an amazing job. But all the stuff that happened after that, where Black Panther got kicked out of Wakanda again, Wakanda got ghettos. All like even now, the new Black Panther is white. Like all of that, was written by us. Now here's the problem. I'm sorry, I gotta point it this way. What you said is accurate. Yes, you may be having people who look like us writing it, but you do not have the ones that represent us writing that, because you do not have Black men or Black women writing who come from a Black household or who know how a Black household functions. They don't know how a Black relationship functions.
Right.
So every time they write it, it's basically Tyler Perry 2.0. And that's the problem. It's like you are having people of color write a character or write characters in which they themselves don't even know how those households or relationships actually function. And because of that, these runs have been nobody's buying them. Like nobody's buying them. Nobody likes them. Again, if you love Black Panther, you want to read some good Black Panther, then you have to read Nation Under Our Feet. You have to read Intergalactic Empire, because everything that comes after that, and I know because I own it all. I own all of it. Everything after that, it's just trash. It is just trash. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It doesn't give what it's supposed to give, and it's nothing more than a letdown. Even when it comes to us, because even right now, the best writings after Intergalactic Empire is again Wakanda Annihilation. Wakanda, which is the series that came up for that. Then you have Black Panther Unconquered. Then you have what? You have Imperial, right?
Yep.
You got 2018's Avengers. Like it seems like, or even the Avengers now, when he's written by other people that are not us, they are writing him better, and that's not a good look. Get people of color that actually understand us as a culture, understand us as a people, and want to write for our betterment and not for our destruction. But you're not doing that, and because of that, the character is not where it needs to. He's not where he needs to be as a character. He's just not.
No,
he's just not.
No, he's.
Because how do you get kicked out of Wakanda by your own women, and then your own women not only kick you out, strip you of your title, which you are still the emperor, the Galactic Empire of Wakanda, but you are no longer the king of Wakanda, right? But they strip you of your title and kick you out, and then they give Namor, someone who is not of your culture, and someone who is not of your race, and someone who drowned your babies in A versus X. Drowned your babies for no reason, right? And then when you got your lick back, got in his fifis, went to Thanos, and had Thanos burn your nation down to the ground. So it's like, but that's the person that you choose to be your protector of Wakanda now.
It don't make no fuck. It never made it. Does I don't understand. I'm gonna get.
You see how you're having the reaction that you're having? T'Challa had the same reaction because he was finna kill him, and they go, "You can't hurt him because he is now our new protector." He said, "Wait a minute."
Excuse me, what?
The fuck?
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Whoa. What? He's what now? It was like, yes, we have appointed Atlantis and Namor, the new protectors of Wakanda, and he was just laughing. He was like.
Yo, when I read that, I had a Peter Griffin moment. I literally went, whoa.
And T'Challa told him, he said, listen, you don't understand. Namor at some point will betray you. He goes, oh no. He said, T'Challa, baby, listen to me. I will never mess this up. As long as I get to protect them, you don't get to be here no more. So why would I ever? No, I want this. I'm gonna do everything I can to keep this. And he's just sitting there like, so I'm sorry, y'all gonna strip me of my birthright? And you gonna kick me out of my birthplace? Absolutely. and he couldn't do nothing. So he had to go back to the Intergalactic Empire because he is the intergalactic emperor of that empire. So he rules 5 galaxies. He does. It's just Wakanda, which is just one place on Earth. He's banished from his own home. He is still the emperor of 5 other galaxies, which is what you're reading in Imperial. But he is no longer the king of Wakanda. The king of Wakanda. They got American independence now. They got democracy. And guess what? All they doing is arguing about it. Like, we now have democracy, but maybe the old way was better. No, we can choose, blah blah blah. But we don't know what to do. We can. And he's just sitting back like,
you take the struggle.
This is what you chose. This you chose this, and
that's what. Hold on, that's what Bass said.
Preach
She repeated because like T'Challa was like, "How could you abandon us?"
Nigga,
I didn't tell you to do this. You did this. This is not your choice. You can't put this up. This was you.
You better.
He said, I didn't do that. That was them. Exactly. That was your people who made that decision. And that's why y'all are in the situation you're in now, because of you. Y'all did this. And you are the Black Panther. So all of y'all in trouble. Don't point your finger at me. That's on you. And he was just like, man, okay. You got it. You got it.
I told you not to let that raggedy motherfucker in this goddamn house. But what did you do? You wanted to give him a goddamn chance because what? You didn't like the way I said a particular word or did a particular thing, even though it's to cover all y'all asses. I don't think you.
I love how you said that, because that's the literal. You need to read it. Read the last Intergalactic Empire, because you need to read the last because that was the gist of the conversation. She told us, she was like, I told y'all what to do. You did the complete opposite. You wanted to touch the stars and colonize 5 of the galaxies. I didn't tell you to do that. I told you to stay your ass at the house. But you didn't want to do all that. Now look at like that was pretty much the gist of the conversation.
Okay.
It's literally a black mama telling you to keep your ass at home, you are trying to get your hot ass out in the streets and do whatever. And then when things go sideways, I told you to stay home. I told you to take care of home.
Oh, well. Shit.
I will say this though. That was another thing in Flame that we did differently. So like instead of having all that type of drama and making Tyler Perry 2.0, one of the things that we incorporated within Flame is this. How can I put it? Most superheroes, and you can look at it even in the indie space, most superhero characters or the main character are orphans, right or wrong.
Yeah.
Most of them don't have a good relationship with their parents.
Yeah.
Most of them are either, they grew up around gang violence or whatever like that, right? Now, I am not saying, anybody who's watching this, I am not saying that there are not kids who can relate to those struggles. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is this. The majority of kids, specifically black kids, aren't going through that. Their dad isn't dead. Their mom isn't dead. They didn't grow up around gang violence. If you look at a lot of these wannabe gangsters, they grew up in a 2-parent household, or at least a household, right? So what I wanted to do was make a story that kids could relate to. So when you first see EJ in book number 1, right? EJ wakes up from a dream and he lives with his aunt and his uncle, right? A lot of kids grew up living with their aunt and uncles, not because the mom died or the dad died or some tragedy. A lot of times it's because that home may have not been stable to where that kid could live there, or maybe the parents couldn't stay together. Right. So you're living with them until they get their stuff together. And some of the other kids in the story, they live with their mom, but they're not living with their mom because their dad was a bad person. Their dad just wasn't around, or their dad couldn't be around. Like, I want them to have a realistic outlook on how households work, because one of the things when Jamie meets his dad for the first time, right, which is the Monkey King, he feels like his dad didn't want him because he was never there. He was like, you weren't there. I didn't even know who you were. So what did I do wrong? Like, why did you leave me? He tells I didn't leave you because I didn't want to be there for you. I have no choice but to be here. You were everything that I wanted. I literally couldn't be there because of duty. It has nothing to do with you. You did nothing wrong. But because of what I am, and to keep you safe and to make sure you could have a life. My sacrifice was doing this so that you could have a life. So that's like, if you look back, that's like Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, right? None of their parents are dead, but because of the decrees of Zeus, they could not meet their parents, right? They could not be with them. So I wanted to give a realistic outlook on that and not do the whole, like Spider-Man, you lost your mom, or you lost your dad and your mom, or Hulk's dad's father was abusive and used to beat his mother in front of him, or Tony Stark, both your parents died in tragedy. I didn't want to do that. I wanted kids to be able to read these stories and be able to relate, because one of the things that taught me that was Avatar, right? Everybody knows Uncle Iroh. We all love Uncle Iroh. And everybody, when we were kids, man, I wish I had an Uncle Iroh, but you do. You do. You see, what I learned is that as a child, we emulate or we take inspiration or we view our life from the media that we consume. So if you grow up watching Baby Boy and Menace to Society and Friday and all this other stuff, you start to emulate or you try to base your life off what you're watching, right? But it's not until you take a step back that you realize that's not my life. This is my life. My mom and dad aren't around because they don't love me. Things just didn't work out and they couldn't take care of me the way that they did. So I live here until they get their stuff together. So I'm saying, or my dad is never home, so does he not want to be around me? No, your dad works in the military. Because he works in the military, he can't be at home because he has to take care of this country to make sure you have a home to stay to.
Or dad's got to work 3 or 4 jobs in order to keep the roof over your head. So yeah, no, you might catch him for like 2 hours, hopefully on a Sunday, and it's like, hi, bye, he's half dead, and he's grumpy on top of all of that. It doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It just means
he has to work a lot, and that's all it is. So it's like, I wanted to do that because I didn't want to feed kids the same trauma and stuff, but I wanted them to see things like, every time one of the kids, like as you read from 1 to 15, every time the kids meet their parents, it's never a negative interaction. It's never, I hate you, none of that stuff. It's like when they ask their dads or their moms, like, why weren't you there? Why aren't you here? They tell them, it's like, sweet baby, I was sealed in this hellhole since you were born. I couldn't like the only reason why my chains are gone now is because of your mom. Other than that, I couldn't leave here. I was stuck here. Like I've always wanted to be there. I just couldn't. Like a lot of times that's what a lot of kids deal with. It's not, oh, I grew up around gang this and gang that or blah, blah, blah. Most of y'all have never, like you got a bunch of wannabe gangsters today that swear to God, yeah, I'm hood. You lived in a 2-story house. Shut up.
Come on, sir. Come on, sir.
You are.
Come on.
Like,
call it out. Call it out, sir.
I had it was a guy in Brooklyn. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I had a guy that was. I swear to God, I was live. He had a double cup and it had ice and water in it. And I was like, what is the point of you having two cups? That makes no sense. At this point, you wasting utilities. And he was trying to be funny or whatever like that. And he caught an attitude. And I was like, you can't catch an attitude in a house you don't pay bills for. How you know I'm in a house? I said, because the inside of your walls is blue. I said, you can't paint your inside of your walls in an apartment complex. Apartment walls are all white.
Come on, sir.
The only reason why you can paint it the way you paint it is because you live in a house. Other than that, it has to be an accent color. So you're in a house, and that's not your house. It's your mama's house. Ooh. So you don't get to do double cup with a muscle shirt on at your mama's house. It's not how that works. So that's what I'm saying. You have a lot of people who want to be pretend gangsters, but that's just because they watched Baby Boy one too many times when they were growing up. So you emulate what you look at, and I don't want to be responsible for that. I want to be responsible for kids emulating good things. I want a little black girl to open that book and go, oh crap, that's me. I want kids to see some of the same situations that they go through. I want them to be able to relate in a way that's healthy, right? And not destructive or negative. And because of that, like it's done a good job. And I think one of the coolest things is when I see all these different kids that are of different races enjoying it, it's like, okay, I know I've done a good job. Because even the parents, let me read this real quick. Oh, okay, hold on now. I'm like, okay, hold on now. And I think one of the coolest things that we're doing now is when this crossover comes out, I'll send you some samples. But when this crossover comes out, Queen, good Lord, she has.
I'm looking at the cover art right now, and let me tell you, these covers have got me.
First of all,
they have captivated me right now.
We're getting into this first. I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good.
Yes, you do. You do.
No. Because I'm sitting. Look at what I'm sitting on. Look at what I'm sitting on.
I was just looking at issue. I was looking at issue 1. Yo, these covers are gorgeous, y'all. Let me tell you.